Personalization principle from Mayer Chapter 9. In this principle, we will learn about using conversational style and virtual agents. What is conversational style? Conversational style has a lot of the qualities that we see in everyday discourse. It's more familiar and it is less formal. Active voice is used in conversational style and it's often done in second person. So references such as "How are you doing?" and "Why don't you try to solve this problem?" would be examples. Please read the following question and decide if the answer is yes or no. And the answer is no. Conversational style does not detract from the seriousness of an educational message. Although this is a common misconception, we will go over reasons of why conversational style is actually effective for learning. Formal style. Formal style looks like this. The idea is that the instructor provides the knowledge and it's the learner's role to acquire the knowledge. Take a look at the differences between conversational style and formal style. As you can see in the last bullet, formal style does not use avatars or agents. However, these may be employed in the conversational style. Please take a moment to look at the following diagrams. In the top diagram, we can see how instructional messages with social cues, such as in personalized text, lead to deeper learning. Whereas in the bottom flowchart, the lack of using personalization text or conversational style does not lead to deeper thinking. And why does conversational style benefit learning? It increases engagement from the learner by creating the social cue. Learners increase mental effort as the social response is activated. And as we saw in the last slide, it also primes the cognitive processes. So it leads to deeper learning. There are a number of studies by Moreno and Meyer, which showed actually in 5 out of 5 studies that personalized text was more effective. And this was in a botany game. Please take a moment to read the following example of a formal script. This example comes from the botany game. Now, keeping some of the features of the formal script in mind, now please take a look at the conversational script. As you can see, the conversational script is much more lively, much more engaging. You feel like you're having a conversation with this invisible agent or author. Here's a proof of the 5 studies we were referencing. As you can see with the personalized version on the left, there is a 46% increase than the formal version there, and the effect size is 1.55. Sometimes we can go a little too far with personalization. This happens when the speech is distracting, or if an overly casual or otherwise inappropriate tone is used. Once an educational message is undermined, then the boundary has been breached. What is the voice principle? The voice principle says that we prefer the sound of ourselves talking. We prefer human voices as opposed to a machine simulated voice. We also like standard accents. This means that it is the native accent of most of the learners, as opposed to a foreign accent. And lastly, there is still a lot of preliminary research that's being done in finding out preferences for female or male voices. For example, in 2005, NAS and Brave, they found that there were preferences for female or male voices based on the topic they were teaching and whether that topic was stereotypically male, such as technology, or stereotypically female, such as human relationships. They showed that learners preferred the gender that was stereotypically associated with the topic. However, as aforementioned, it is still very much up in debate and being explored. In 2010, Linnaeus, Jurgetz, and Scheiter, they did a study at a German university, and they found in a math class on probability that that students were allowed to choose whether they wanted a male voice or a female voice, and regardless of their preference, learning was better from a female voice. Let's try giving it a go. Here's a sentence. Let's try rephrasing this into a question. Or we can be more direct. And what are agents? Agents are also known as virtual coaches or avatars. Here we have two examples that are quite different. The one on the right is a character from Second Life that someone created, and on the left is more of a cartoon-like agent. So agents can actually look very realistic or very cartoonish. They can be a whole body or a talking head. And they can actually just be a voice. They can even be a machine simulated voice. They don't have to be animated, but they can be animated or still. Agents do improve learning. In 2002, Atkinson found that even with just having a voice as an agent, a voice that read step-by-step narration for the solution to a work example, it provided far better learning than learners who just had on-text solutions. So we've already gone over how agents can look very diverse. They do not need to look realistic. They don't even need to be people. They could be insects. They could be celestial beings. They could be objects. They really can look like anything. However, they do need certain human traits, such as these. Human expressions, emotional expressions are also important. As we've already discussed, when it comes to an agent's gender and ethnicity, there's still very much to be explored in this field. However, interestingly, in 2006, Moreno and Flowerday discovered that for learners who were allowed to either choose a gender or ethnicity of an agent that was similar to themselves, those learners actually performed poorer in a multimedia science class. Take a moment to recap what we have learned so far. Agents and conversational style can help aid learning. And although agents do not need to look realistic or human-like, they do need human-like expressions, gestures, eye gaze, and voice, and they do need to serve an educational purpose as opposed to an entertainment purpose. This is when authors use their own preferences or demographics or experiences and examples in the text to relate to the reader. It has the following benefits. And in a study by Paxton in 2002, they found that high school students writing an essay who were given greater author visibility produced essays with more effort. As we can see, there are still many areas where more research is needed, such as the boundary between personalization and a tone that could be too condescending or distracting, and what conditions are necessary for a visible author, as well as the gender and ethnicity of agents. My learning environment for this class is lifeguard training. I believe that conversational style is employed during the design of lifeguard training, and we also use active voice and the second person perspective when referring to the learners. I'm going to relate the personalization principle to the following pillars. I think that personalization principle helps increase diversity as it is especially effective for novice learners and learners with low prior knowledge. I feel that by using the personalization principle, we can strengthen the human bonds necessary and the social relationships necessary to reach out to more diverse populations. I believe that the personalization principle has a lot of research behind it and a lot of research that is still being accumulated and how it benefits learning. And that's about it. Thank you for watching my slideshow.